Clash of Clans would be a better game if they made this one change. In this video, I will explain why that is the case. And although it seems simple at surface level, there are 4 key components to make this work, which I'm going to break down. There has been a lot of feedback shared from the community over recent times in terms of ranked mode, frustration following Town Hall 18. It's hard to see through the noise, but I believe this solution would be very helpful for the community at large. All players. I'm not just talking about the active community. Now, I admire the implementation of ranked mode, how the team are bold at making big changes to how the game has always run. And I understand we need to try and attract new audiences and modernize the game. But at the same time, you cannot alienate those players that have played for years and love the game. And that's where I hope the team are bold enough as well to realize if this is not working out the way they thought it would, that they change tact. So we've had changes to the ranked mode announced for the next update, or little tweaks. We've seen changes to the Town Hall 18 modifiers and meta overall. And I think it's good that they're not making big rash decisions. They're trying to tweak the implementation they've got to see if they can find the sweet spot. But if they can't, this is what I hope happens. Now, the more I read comments about ranked mode, how it makes people feel more pressurized, the competition, they just want to do their attacks, they just want to farm their base, but they can't because the ore and the star bonus is tied to this competitive system. The more I think about ranked mode, the more I think it should have just been that. A separate mode. The old leagues, which are iconic, should have stayed as the core aspect of the game. Now, there are 4 different pillars, I think, to how this would work if both systems were implemented. So let's go through those. First of all, I just mentioned it, the star bonus. Clash of Clans have said they implemented ranked mode so that players could play the game how they wanted.
So these 2 new modes let everyone play however they want and still earn rewards.
Part of the reason Clash Anytime came about, so that there's no troop training time, but it seems for some players it's had the opposite effect. Again, from an active, competitive standpoint, those players love ranked mode. I enjoy ranked mode. But if it has the opposing effect for more of the broad casual player base, well, then they need to do something about it. So the star bonus would be mirrored across the modes. So in battle mode, if it was Bronze League, that would tie up and be the same amount of star bonus in the Skeleton Leagues for ranked. Silver League would tie to the Barbarian League, etc. But you could only complete your star bonus once. Much like now, you can complete it in battle mode or in ranked mode, but the star bonus in what you achieve is tied to your highest league. So if you are in Legend League in battle mode, but you're only in Valkyrie Leagues in ranked, well then you gain the star bonus from your battle mode ranking. You wouldn't have to participate in battle mode because if you're a higher Town Hall level, you just care about ranked, well then you'll be high enough in the leagues that you can only do ranked. You don't need to worry about battle mode. There is a counter argument that the lower Town Hall levels may have to engage in both leagues because they can't get higher star bonus in the ranked since they are limited as to how high they can go based on their Town Hall level. But they'd be no worse off than they are now. At least they have the opportunity to climb up through the leagues in battle mode to get the higher star bonus and the higher ore. Now, I know Clash of Clans has an economy team that balances all of this, and clearly they can control that a lot more through the distribution of ore purely from ranked. But if you try and get every little piece of the economy lined up that it sucks the fun out of the game, well then it's counterproductive. I would argue that the players that are trying to push up to Legend in battle mode to take advantage of the higher star bonus and the ore, they are the players that need it most, the lower Town Hall level players, because it's quite smart that Clash of Clans did implement the league floors of Town Halls, because it means as you go up, you naturally do get higher star bonus because you're in a higher league. But for those lower Town Hall players, they just don't have that option. And more so for returning players, you can end up being stuck, like you're not getting progression. If you jump on for a 2-hour play session, you can at least feel like you climbed up through the leagues, you got that higher star bonus. It's a rewarding, enjoyable experience. Equally, when you think about distribution of ore through clan wars, you can see how lower Town Hall players might struggle to be in a higher level competitive clan. They haven't played the game as much, their base isn't upgraded as much. They might not be able to just walk into any clan that is more actively playing the game, even if they're super skilled as a Town Hall 13, because those clans just don't want the lower Town Hall players, so they can be limited in how successful they can be as an individual in gaining ore from clan war, and that can be a frustrating thing. So allowing those players that are struggling to find a clan and gain ore from that perspective, allowing them to take it into their own hands and push up through the leagues if they want, well then that is going to be helpful in that regard. If you can imagine, let's say a Town Hall 18, they get 50% of ore income from clan wars and star bonus for argument's sake. At that level, they've probably played the game long enough that they are in more of an established clan. They will likely war more often, probably win more wars. But as that Town Hall 13 player that struggles to do that, they might get 75% of their ore income from the star bonus and less from clan wars, purely because of that frustration friction point. So allowing them to take it into their own hands and play the game how they wish would be a good thing. Now, I am theorizing there. Clash of Clans clearly have the data to support or disprove what I was just saying. But to me, if their goal is to allow players to play the game and enjoy the game how they want, then this helps to achieve it. And before I move to the second component, right now, as an individual, if you only care about casual attacking and upgrading your base, you have to engage in either the competitive aspect of ranked as an individual or the competitive aspect of clan wars as a group. There's no just casual option because it's tied to ranked. And again, I think it's smart that we have the league floors, but it's not as rewarding to have that as the way you get the ore and just literally aimlessly farming in battle mode. Feeling like you are taking that into your own hands and you are progressing through the leagues. You are able to control the star bonus you're able to achieve by moving up through the leagues is more rewarding. Again, from a casual perspective, I am not saying that from the active standpoint, it's unfair to say, well, you should engage in ranked mode. You can't expect to get the same amount of rewards. That is absolutely the case. If you are engaging in all of the different aspects of the game, you should be more rewarded. But if we want to make the game as enjoyable for as many players how they want to play the game, well then we do need to appreciate that not everyone plays the game to our level and in the same way. But on the same token, this would actually be a good thing for ranked, because if those players didn't have to engage in ranked mode, I'm going to talk a little bit later about how I think we could encourage people across to ranked mode. However, if players who didn't want to engage in that didn't have to spam their farming attacks in ranked mode, well then that would make ranked mode better for the competitive players because they don't have that luck factor of you never know if you're going to have someone just firstly not attack you. I know they round the numbers up, but then just spam Valkyries against your base. What happens if you have all of the competitive players play against you and other people have players who are just spamming Valkyries because they're just farming in their league? If the battle mode allowed players to farm more effectively in there and they didn't have to participate in ranked mode because they would be demoted if they did not, well then the ranked mode would actually be even more competitive for us active competitive players which that's what we want. So you're then potentially achieving a better gaming experience for not just the casual general player base that want to just use battle mode. You're actually making ranked mode more competitive for those players that do want to engage in ranked mode, so it's a best of both worlds. So that's pillar number 1, the star bonus. I know I went on a bit of a tangent there, but the star bonus being mirrored across the leagues. And you might ask, well, what's the point in ranked mode? Well, that is component number 2. The leaderboards are all tied to ranked, as it should be. The regular game mode, we wouldn't have leaderboards for that because it just becomes a system where the more you attack, the higher up in trophies you would get. That doesn't really equate to skill, but it gives players that are a bit more casual the feeling of progression. If you jump on for a 2-hour play session, you can actually progress through multiple leagues. You can improve your star bonus. You can feel like you've made a bit more progress. That 2 hours was well spent. But when it comes to competitiveness and the leaderboards, they should all be tied to ranked. Whether that's the legend system, and by the way, I still think they should continue to improve ranked the way that they are currently looking to do. But in terms of legend specifically, I still think it should be a smaller, more exclusive league. They've said they're looking at promotion and demotion percentages. But in terms of the leaderboard, ranked would tie into the leaderboards. I think we should be allowed to see the top town hall levels of whatever. So if I'm a Town Hall 10, I can see the number 1 Town Hall 10 in the world, but if I'm a Town Hall 18, I can only see Town Hall 18s. Make it where we can toggle through any Town Hall. That means that the ranked system and the leaderboard is meaningful for players that want to be competitive, but those that aren't really into that pressurized system, they still have the old iconic system as the regular battle mode. Because as much as trying to expand to new players and keep the game revitalizing is important, it's equally important to make sure you don't overstep the line to alienate your audience that have played for years. If they feel like the game is now a totally different game, that could mean they stop playing. So you have to get that balance of making sure you stay true to why people fell in love with Clash of Clans. As much as the leaderboards would be tied to ranked, when it comes to your clan, you can already toggle through and see who is the highest town hall level, who has received or donated the most troops. It would just be another one within that toggle whereby it's ranked and regular battle mode, and you can toggle through to see who has the most trophies in regular battle mode. Maybe at a clan level, you can set what the default is when somebody views your clan, and then at a user level, you can change that if you wish. But either way, I don't see it being a problem having 2 trophy counts, because I have said about ranked mode, I'm not a big fan of 0 trophies, getting to the next league, it resetting because throughout the week you're just gaining trophies, and then all of a sudden you're at 5,000 in Legends. It's not that logical, other than if you're tying it to the old system. If battle mode had the old system, it would be just that. You move up towards 5,000 trophies, moving through the leagues, getting that star bonus as you go. When you get to Legends, this is the 3rd pillar. Legend in the old system would purely become a place where your trophies are between 5,000 and 6,000. That's it. Once you get to 6,000 trophies, you've hit the cap. Congratulations, you've beat battle mode. You can't get any higher. But what that means is you can still have unlimited attacks, you're just not gaining trophies. You can still lose trophies on defense, and it equally means you're not instantly dropped out of Legends League. You have 1,000 trophies that you can afford to lose and still be in Legend League, gaining that star bonus. I think for more of the general player base, that would be a really cool experience in that area of 5,000 to 6,000. 6,000 was always a bit of a magical number in the previous Legend League. That's what people strived towards. So it would be cool for people to be able to get there and have that sense of achievement. Yes, the more active and competitive community, you don't care about that. That's fine. You care about ranked mode. I'm with you. I love ranked mode. But the thing is, we have to be able to make the game successful for everybody. Otherwise, the game goes down over and just dies. Before I move on to the fourth pillar, I'm not saying that this is even the answer. I don't know. Maybe they can tweak ranked mode to make it more exciting and more fun for players, that the system they have implemented is just what works for the future. That would be amazing. I hope that is the case. But if not, the more I've been reading comments from my community on Reddit, trying to decipher through what more broad problems could be, this is one thing that I've came to think is that maybe it was just too big of a risk to change the core gameplay, and it should have just been a different mode, which equally allows the competitive players to be competitive. That's what we wanted. But it doesn't change things for more of the casual player base. Now, the fourth pillar to this, before I get into a few more reasons as to why I think this would be successful, if I'm honest, I think even if Supercell went with this, I don't think they would add this aspect of it, but I really think they should. And by the way, I provide Supercell feedback all of the time. This idea, I've already sent to Supercell. A lot of people submit ideas, whether it's content creators, whether it's on Reddit. They certainly listen to all of that, but they have all of the data to know how people actually respond. I can look at the comments and get a general sense of the community, but they can see data as to how people actually engage in the game, which is what they should be using to make informed decisions alongside the community sentiment. So the fourth pillar, using heroes whilst they're upgrading in ranked. Why not? That is a frustration point when it comes to the competitive players, that you have to try and manage things around your heroes upgrading. There'd still be reason to upgrade your heroes, because it's not like you can use them at a higher level. It's just that you can use them whilst they're upgrading. So people still want to upgrade their heroes. I don't think even if they were to, for whatever reason, allow us to do this, they would allow you to use max level equipment. But even that, I think, might be a stretch too far. They have the code where we can use heroes whilst they're upgrading. We've had that in events before. I think just tying that to ranked mode would be great, because you don't get that frustration from the competitive players. There's still reason to upgrade your heroes. Of course, I don't think they would lose that much monetary value in that. But what it means is it's actually a reason for those more casual players who don't want to engage in ranked mode, that are frustrated in the current setup. There's more of a reason for them to actually go into ranked mode. Maybe they just love battle mode, they do that all of the time, but once they're upgrading their heroes, it's trickier to farm and get their star bonus. So maybe they do go into ranked mode. Maybe that's the nudge they need to learn that aspect of the game, start enjoying the competitiveness, and that actually gives them a deeper connection to Clash of Clans. Because I guess that would be one drawback of making ranked a separate mode, in that a lot of the more casual players probably would just stick to battle mode, because if they could get their star bonus from battle mode and increase the amount of ore income, there really isn't as much need to engage in ranked mode. In my opinion, that's fine. They don't even need to engage in ranked mode. If they're going to play the game, they're going to enjoy the game, Supercell's still going to make their money, then why care? I thought the whole point of this was to allow people to play the game how they wish. But just that little incentive of use your heroes whilst they're upgrading in ranked mode might be enough to encourage those players across. I've been trying to think of maybe consequences of having the system like this. I'm sure there's some I've overlooked. One thing I was considering is, since they have implemented ranked mode and the battle system, we have snapshot bases now because the amount of attacks in battle mode has increased, but I really don't think that's a problem, because we have the magic shield, which would equally work the same where you protect your loot. And even if we had trophies in the regular battle mode, I don't think the magic shield should protect your trophies. Because if you're able to just attack and gain those trophies up, well, fair enough, you can lose them on defense, but you can equally just win them back. And I think the way they had it, whereby you don't gain many trophies from 1-star, like after Clash Anytime, they reduced the amount of trophies you could get from a 1-star. They could still absolutely keep it like that, so that if people were just spamming Valkyries, they're still gaining trophies. But there is still incentive to try and 3-star in battle mode, So I really don't see it as that big of a problem. Maybe there is reason for the magic shield to protect your trophies as well, but even if it just protected your loot the way that it does now in battle mode, and you could always lose trophies even if it's a snapshot base, I think that would work, and it's still way more rewarding and engaging than how the system is currently. One thing I was equally thinking of, which would be really cool, like what if rather than pressing the attack button where it had the battle mode and the ranked battles, what if when you logged in, your base was very peaceful, you had your home village scenery, your regular battle mode trophy count, but then you could press and hold your trophy count to adjust to the ranked mode or just swipe across, and your home village was actually your war layout, and that represented ranked. And then from there, when you press the attack button, it defaulted to the ranked system. Maybe there's a button there that you could still toggle across to the battle mode, but what if the actual feel of the game was that you're in battle mode and then you're in ranked mode, rather than just when you press the attack button, both options are there? Maybe going a little bit too far down the UI route there, but I do think there could be additional benefits for Supercell if they do this as well. Number one, I mean, if the players are going to enjoy the game more, and more players are going to enjoy the game more, surely that corresponds to more revenue, right? That's, you would think, logical. So just make the game enjoyable for as many people as possible. But when it comes to temporary troops, like event troops, right now they are just not as attractive as they used to be because you can only use them in battle mode. And that's absolutely the case. They should not be in ranked mode to spoil the competitiveness, but in battle mode, there's really no incentive to use them because it is literally just a farming mode. No one needs to 3-star in battle mode, realistically. I mean, I'm sure some people might want to, but you can just spam sneaky goblins. It's way more effective. There's no need for me to use those troops, which means there's not as much excitement around them. I said this in a previous video, but as an active member of the community, it can be hard to take a step back and see how the casual, like true casuals that don't engage in social media for Clash of Clans, how they play the game. That's where Supercell has that data. Maybe what I'm saying does not support their data, but yeah, it's just not as engaging to use those troops. And in the past, for example, with the WWE, I don't know the specifics of partnerships, obviously, but it would seem that those event troops, if they could make them more popular, they could potentially bring in more partnerships. Whereas right now in the current setup, they're just not going to be as engaging. If things were split, where the old system was still core, ranked was just a separate system, event troops would be more engaging because people would want to be 3-starring to get more trophies, to get up to Legend League and that magical 6,000 trophy mark. It's interesting because I did see a comment which I forwarded to Supercell. I've been forwarding a lot of feedback, more so condensing everything together before I put across to Supercell what the consensus is in my community. But I did send one comment directly that basically talked about how they didn't care about leagues or their rank, sorry. Casual players care about trophies. And now that's gone. That's why on the profile, people cared about their trophy number, not necessarily the rank. Again, the competitive scene, they know that the rank is way more important. But for more of a casual perspective, trophies were what people liked. And I do think that in battle mode, if the trophy system and the old leagues were still there, firstly, it wouldn't feel like a different game. People could still enjoy that aspect, but you would feel a sense of progression. I feel like that is one thing that is lacking from the current ranked system, and it is something that Clash talked about in their blog actually, but I don't know how they can fix that in the current ranked system because you can only promote to the next league at least once a week, unless they change that whereby if you came first, it was more meaningful, you could jump more leagues, but eventually you're going to hit a spot where you have to be upgrading town halls or investing significant time in order to improve your skills, where a lot of people just don't want to play Clash or have the time to play Clash on that level. And again, it's a fair comment from the competitive community and more of the active players to say, well, how can you expect to get up through the leagues? Just get good. And that's fine. When it comes to competition and the leaderboards, But if that ends up putting off a lot of players because they have to engage in this competition system, well, then I don't think that's healthy, and it doesn't achieve the goal that Supercell have in mind to allow people to play the game how they wish. So I feel having the system split so it's back to how it was in battle mode and ranked is as it is now, but continued to be improved upon. That's a separate system. That's what ties to the leaderboards. That's what is tied to Legend League. To me, it just makes a lot of sense. I can see where Supercell can control the ore income a little bit more due to the star bonus at different town hall levels. But again, as I explained before, I don't think that's a big problem. If people can really enjoy the game and feel like, yes, I am at that higher point in battle mode, I'm getting that higher ore, and they are equally enjoying upgrading their village and engaging in the game like that, why not let them? You can manage the ore economy around their fun, not having it set up where it sucks the fun out of the game. And I truly think they can get that balance where it doesn't harm their monetization either. Even if that's tweaking the numbers within Clan Wars, because again, lower Town Hall players, they're the ones that would push up to those higher leagues. Supercell don't really have to worry about Town Hall 18 players pushing up in battle mode and like taking advantage of higher league bonuses, because at the end of the day, they're going to be up in the higher leagues in ranked anyway. They're going to get the higher amount of ore from Clan Wars. So that's not a problem. It's really the lower Town Hall players. But to be honest, that's where the ore has the biggest problem, particularly when it comes to returning players. So if they can come back to the game, push up through the leagues in battle mode in order to actually upgrade their equipment and feel like their return is a more enjoyable experience, then I don't think that's a bad thing. Clearly, you can let me know what you think, but from trying to listen to all of the perspectives, clearly there are some players that just think ranked is the way to go and that's the best thing, but trying to have an open mind to keep the game fun for everyone, this is where I think it would be the best option. Again, I admire how passionate the Clash of Clans team is and how they are truly trying to strive towards big changes. If you don't take those big risks, you will never achieve greatness. But I do hope that they don't just continue pushing down this line if it's not working. Maybe it does and they can improve it, and I hope that is the case. But if not, I equally hope they are bold enough to change things from their initial vision. That is what I think will improve Clash of Clans significantly for the widest amount of players. I will place on your screen the video where I talked about the problems with ranked mode following Town Hall 18 and some suggestions I had for ranked mode specifically. Enjoy the rest of your day.